Hi guys, it's Dakota. Hope everybody's doing well today. Welcome to my channel. Glad you could be here. So I want to talk a little bit about some synchronicities that, as you know, I love synchronicities. It sort of blows my mind still, but I get so excited when they happen. But these are just some things that I think it's leading me somewhere. And so I want to talk about them. And then at the end, I'm actually going to be doing some personal magic. Yes. Um, and I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share with you what I'm doing, but I'm, of course, because it is personal, and you know that I'm extremely private when it comes to my personal work. So I'm not going to, of course, share my words, my incantations. I may not share exactly, I may not share whatever it is that I'm doing, some of the things, right? But you are free to, if you like it, if it's interesting, if you think you can use it for something else, or even maybe something similar to what I'm going to be using it for, then please do so, and you will use your own stuff, because that's what we do. We have to create our own stuff. It's great to take ideas from books and other YouTubers and bloggers and all the things, but in order for it to be yours, you need to get out of that box and put your own energy and your own thoughts and your own words and your own ideas into it. So, okay. All right. So, the first thing is I sleep with crystals or any kind of different stones, minerals, etc. Under my pillow. And every week, with laundry day, I take them out and I put new ones in. Now, typically, I'll just grab stones and put them in there. Sometimes I might have a particular thing I'm working on, and so then I'll try to find the stone that might help with that energy. But typically, I just put stones under there, and whatever happens, happens. I do have my favorites though. So, but anyway, last night, what I decided to do, I was making the bed, and I said, I'm just gonna. I have like 3 or 4 different bowls of just stones. And I just grabbed one of the bowls. No reason. I don't have special stones and special bowls. All the stones are just mixed together because I'm not using them. Well, we can talk about that another day if you want. I'm not using the stones. They're not being worked. They're just in a bowl. Um, so I just picked a bowl and I just put my hand in and was swirling the stones around, and I just said, like, the universe, spirit guides, deity, whatever, divine powers, pick 3 stones for this week. So I picked out 3 stones. One was a petersite, which helps to enhance visions. So remember that, enhances visions. The other one I pulled out was a piece of fulgurite, which is melted sand. It's when lightning hits sand, and it literally it's so hot, it just literally, like a meteorite, it just melts the earth, it melts the sand. And, oh, excuse me, and you can find them at the beach. They're like little tubes of melted sand. And so they have a really high frequency because, lightning. But therefore, they help with manifesting visions. So I went, wow, how interesting, So the 2 stones, one enhances intuition, and the other one helps to manifest visions. And I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. Put my hand in again, shake them all around, pulled out a stone, and I pulled out an astrophyllite. And the what that does is it helps with astral travel, which I don't astral travel much. I have in the past, and it's fun. It's kind of a cool thing to do. It's not like lucid dreaming, astral traveling, and but it helps with that, and it also expands our spiritual perception of all things. So that I looked up, and so that was pretty heavy. That was pretty heavy. And so, but I was putting them under my pillow and I thought, this is really interesting that these are so similar in, in their properties and what they do. And in fact, I had posted on, sorry, I'm trying to get the volume off my phone so it doesn't ring while I'm talking. Um, uh, that they all three kind of work together. So anyway, so there was that, right? And I thought, well, that's just a really cool thing. And I posted on Facebook, I'm not going to get any sleep tonight because I think I'm going on a journey somewhere, and I'm going to be really aware. I'm going to have enhanced visions and intuition and all of that. All right. So there's all of that. Okay, that's part one. Part two started about maybe, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. I started researching, and, things just have a way, right? Things just have a way. I had started researching ayahuasca, which, if you're not familiar with ayahuasca, it is a sacred vine of the Amazon. The medicine men, the shamans, medicine men, it is their culture. It belongs to their culture. And it's two, the one that I study and the one that I know about, it is two, it's a vine and it's a bush, and I don't know the Latin names for them. I apologize. I'm not going to even try. But they mix the two in like this big, huge cauldron, and they make a tea out of it. And it's supposed to be really thick, like sludgy, muddy, and it tastes very bitter, kind of like vinegar or something. It's not good. But it is psychoactive. It is a psychoactive sacred herb, and they only use it in a sacred ceremonial for sacred ceremonial reasons. The shamans and the medicine men and women, and so, however, they have retreats now that you can go to, and in places like the Amazon or Peru or Brazil, or those types of places, maybe Costa Rica, not those types of places, but um, indigenous, where that is they grew up in it. They grew up in it. So yeah, so I just was really, really interested in it. And then years ago, um, I had a customer come into the store, and she had experienced um, sort of a weekend retreat, and here in the United States, I'm not going to say where, and because ayahuasca supposedly is illegal in the United States. And so anyway, she had just experienced a weekend retreat where they had done it there with the shaman, and she was telling me all about it. And as it turns out, she is assisting with the shaman, and I'm not sure if she's gone through her training now or whatever. Since has moved to somewhere else, and they are doing on their own private land. They are doing retreats and stuff here, and I am invited every time they have one. And as much as I want to, I really am being called to go to Peru. So the deal was, in 2019, I had kind of made a decision, a personal decision. I didn't share it with anyone that I know of, that I can think of anyway, that I was pretty sure come 2020 that I was going to go to Peru. There was a couple reasons. One is I wanted to do the touristy things. I wanted to go to Machu Picchu. I wanted to do some of the other touristy things. But I really, really, really wanted to find a retreat uh, for ayahuasca, and I wanted to experience it and do it. And and then COVID, right? So what they say about ayahuasca is, they say when the medicine calls, you'll know. So when that happened, I was so disappointed that I actually thought, you know what? Okay, well then I'm just going to go to, the retreat that I know of that's here. And but then I kept remembering that was like running through my head, like when the medicine calls, you'll know. And by doing that, I felt like I was just forcing myself to do it. So I have not done it. But this whole thing with COVID, well, then I thought, maybe this year or probably next year, maybe because I'm getting very, very called to have this experience. And now, look at where we are, right? With everything that's going on in the world. I'm like, it just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right to me. And then again, maybe it does feel right. I don't know. But I haven't done it, and I haven't made any overseas, travel plans or any kind of thing like that. So one of the things that if you're wondering, so what is ayahuasca and what does it do? Well, when you go into the retreat, before you drink your tea and you get up with your shaman, you have to go in before you drink the tea. You have to go in with an intention, with a question. What are you there for? That kind of thing. You can't just go in. This is not going to a retreat and getting high and partying. It is not that whatsoever. Trust me, it is not. Um, so I had written down some things that I wanted to think about, meditate with, and reflect on, so that when I went, I would know for certain that that was the question that I was looking for, and they were because one of the things is, okay. So one of the things about ayahuasca also that I'm still researching this part, and I think that's why the medicine. You know what I mean? It's like it's there, but I don't think it has called completely yet. And I think this is why, because I still have questions. What I've been reading and learning about with ayahuasca is that it's medicinal. It's a medicinal thing. So not just medicinal like health wise, but medicinal with old traumas, past traumas and hurts and just things like that, addictions, abuse, and all of those things. But then I wonder, is that all it's for? Because I don't have that. We all have traumas. We've all had, experiences. But I think through my shadow work, I still have work to do. But I don't think that any of past traumas or anything like that has, I don't, I don't, uh, gosh, I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time. It's sort of gone, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like it affects me to that point of where I've got to clean the traumas, that kind of thing. So then I thought, wow, that's maybe that's why the medicine isn't calling, because that is not what I'm going for. So then I said, well, what are you going for? And this is what I'm going for. I am looking for something deeper. I feel like no matter what book I pick up to read, um, it's sort of like in today's world, unless I can find a good book that is not traditional, modern, witchcrafty kind of book, it just seems to me that the majority, and this is no offense at all to any authors out there, but I just feel like every book pretty much says the same thing in different words, different energy behind it. And that's what we need, because you might read one book and go, I don't like it. I can tell you some authors, and I'm not going to name them, but I've pulled those books from my shelves at the store, and they're on sale, and they're still sitting on the sale table. I don't like the energy of that person. And then there's other books that I love that author, and they talked about the same thing that person talked about, but different energy, right? And so I love them and I love their books. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. I haven't been able to find that subject, or that, it's not even a subject, it's a thing. It's a thing, it's an energy that where do I go from here? You know, I mean, I've reached that spiritual plateau that I know there's got to be something deeper. There's a piece of the puzzle missing, and I need to find it. Where do I go to look for that? I'm looking for the deepness behind the veil, not the depth behind the veil. Don't get me wrong. Just the deepness behind that veil, the mysteries behind the veil. And I just don't know. I don't even know how to quite word that, but so some of the things that I wrote was, where do I go from here? What is my purpose? Like, what is my purpose? And interesting, because my coworker, call her that, just asked me the other day about that. Like, what do you think your magical specialty is, or something like that? And it made me think, so what is my purpose? What is my purpose? um, and how can I serve more? And when I say serve more, I'm talking about serve my gods, serve myself, and without being, I don't mean that to be egocentric or anything like that, but serve myself, and especially serve my gods. um, you know what can I do? What I know, I'm needing elevation is what I need. That's where I'm at. I'm ready for the next elevation. So what is that? What does that mean? And will ayahuasca, uh, is that the right choice then for that? Because if it's just dealing with the traumas and all of that, that isn't really what I'm going for. However, there might be some hidden trauma that needs to be released in order for me to elevate to the next level. Maybe that's what it is. So that's kind of where I am. So today's work, I'm going to do a magical working, to sort of unlock uh, those doors, those spiritual doors, sort of, what's behind those doors, that veil, what is behind that spiritual veil? Where's the missing puzzle piece? So that's kind of what my work is going to be, that I'm going to show you. And before we go there, there was two things that really struck me that one came from it was an ayahuasca experience that the person had, and they wrote about it. And then the other one was from I believe it was from a video. I think it was from a video. I had written it down in my journals like years ago. And one, it said that, besides when the medicine calls, you'll know it. I get that part. But it said, if you look into the world's mirror, the world's most honest mirror, what would you see? And it's hard to be in the world without being of the world. And those two things is what my work is about today. All right, so I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to go to another table, and I'll set you up and show you. Okay. So I've already set up my little altar here, and I'll go over everything with you. What I'm using, this is an old enamel top table. As you know, the one that I use, where I set up like little things to show you, that's also an enamel tabletop. What I like about them is this. I have glued, as you know, I don't like candle holders, so I have wax glued my candle directly onto the table, because when I'm done, I just scrape with a little plastic scraper, or sometimes just my thumbnail, and the wax will come right off. Any oil and herbs the same thing. I just wipe everything off. If I'm going to leave them as an offering, I just wipe them off into my hand, take them out, put them in the offering spot. So, as I said, I'm doing sort of a road opener or a path opener to all of those things that I mentioned with the stones, to enhance my intuition, to manifest visions, and to expand my spiritual perception of all things. And if that requires or involves the astral traveling, that the astrophyllite, the energy of that, then that's great as well. So I have already done my petition for what it is that I want. But what I'm going to do is, okay, so what I have is, I've got 4 keys, and those are to open the doors, to open the pathway. I have my locks going in a diesel clockwise motion because I'm trying to open. So this corner here represents the direction of the east for me, air, and so I'm going to use some seeds. Those are just little sunflower seeds that I'm going to use to represent east. And then I have, this is some snake skin, shed skin that I have found. It was not in one piece. It was all, I don't know what happened, but it was all crumbled up. But that's all right. It still works. So I have that. I have this little bowl, which is a metal bowl, has a dragonfly on it. That is going to be for water. And here I have some special water that I made during a dark moon when I was doing a ritual for a private ritual. So I'm just going to pour some of the water into the bowl, and so of course this represents the direction of west and water. And then for north, I have a goose bone and a vertebrae, which I'm not exactly sure where this came from. I did a video, it's been a year ago or so. I think it's called Bones and Curiosities or something like that. You can look it up, and I talk about the bones on there and some other things. So I'm using those for the element of north. I also, as you know, I work with road opener just about every time I do something. And so I am using, I have a little bronze statue of Ganesha, and I have him facing me because I'm doing it this way. And then this is a little quartz. Yeah, you won't be able to see it that way. It's easier to see it against my black shirt. A little quartz Ganesha. And I like the idea of using the quartz. Here we go, talking about stones. Because quartz is a master stone. So it has that energy. It's a master stone. So anyway, so yeah, so my candle has already gotten its petition told to it, but I am going to, this is my road opener oil, and I am just going to do the wick with that, and I'm going to put a little on the bottom of each of the little statues. And then this is tobacco water, or oil, sorry. And you know I use that often as an offering. And I'm just going to put that right on, putting 3 drops right on the wick, right on the candle. just as an offering. And then I have this ring. It's made out of bone, and it is Ganesh. And I'm going to take this and I'm slipping it right over the candle. So it's facing me. In other words, it would look like this if I was over there. And of course, these would be facing that way too. But since I'm doing my work right here where I am, I'm going to face it towards me. And I just slipped it right over the candle. I'm just rubbing that road opener oil into my hands. All right, now, push this a little bit closer. What I'm going to do is, this is sea salt. And I'm going to, oops, I don't have my spoon. I'm going to start up here. And I'm just doing a ring of salt around, oops, around my work. And then, if you remember, I made some red brick dust. Remember that? I don't have much. When I made the red brick dust, it's on my channel. You can look it up. Smells divine, the way that I make mine. And, oh, yeah, it smells good. And what I'm doing is I am just going to add a little, come on, brick dust. And the reason I'm doing my circle in salt and brick dust is because, you know, I'm opening the doors. I'm opening some doors. I don't really think of them as portals, but anyway, if I'm doing work, this kind of work, I want to make sure that I have some protection going on. So I did 3 circles. I did 1 circle of salt and I did 2 circles of the brick dust. And the only reason I did 3 in the brick dust is because there was a big gap. Now, I'm not one that really freaks out about stuff like that. Like, oh my gosh, this isn't sealed right here. Okay, whatever. I truly don't get into all of that. All right, this is, I do want it to be protected. So it's as protected as I think that it needs to be for what I'm doing. All right, so I am using, this is wormwood, and you can see it's in a fairly large bag, and I actually keep it in this large container because I actually use a lot of wormwood. Wormwood is really good for not divination, for visions and things that I'm doing now. Three pinches. And I am also using mugwort. Now usually I would have a tea And I'm just putting the mugwort on top of the wormwood, just mixing it together. Usually I'll have a cup of tea with either dandelion or mugwort as well, to help with visions. I use it a lot when I'm doing divination. I really like mugwort. If you're going to ingest any herbs, please check the guidelines, check the resources, ask your doctor, because it can affect you if you're taking other medications, if you've got, maybe you have allergies or something like that. So you're going to want to make sure that none of that is affecting you. So it's not a good idea to just go, oh, that's, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health expert. I've researched it, I've spoken with my doctor, and, you know, although he's not a big person that's into the herbs and stuff, no harm done as long as I'm not, ingesting something that would be not good to ingest that much with anything, to be quite honest with you. Okay, so here is my spell work. This is what I'm going to be doing for, without giving you exactly my words, my incantation and all of that. This is what I'm going to be doing for, to manifest visions, to enhance my intuition so that I can see or know in my stomach when the medicine is ready, when it has called me. And if it's not about ayahuasca, then also to that whole thing about expanding my spiritual perception, or expanding our spiritual perception of all things. I just need that little peek under the veil. I just need to go a little bit deeper, and that is what all of this is for me. Okay, so that's what I did, and I am just going to light my starter candle here, and I'm going to light my main candle there. And you can see it's very black, sooty. That is from the oils. And there you go. And that's it. So I'm hoping that this will help me manifest what it is that needs to be open to me. I'm looking for something a little bit deeper. Perhaps it will open up some of those doors, to highlight areas or people that have more experience, have had maybe deeper experiences that can shed some light. So there you go. That's it. All of the elements are represented, and I'll be going into my magic now, my meditation. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And like I said, feel free to use this setup if you want, and you can use it for anything. Prosperity, maybe you want to unlock the doors to more money, so you would use maybe some coins or pyrite or whatever you feel is represents money to you. Health, it could be anything. Love, it could be whatever you want. So guys, that is it, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.